Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hello, my friends. It's time to have a moment peaceful in this crazy world, isn't it? There's so much pressure, so much hate, so much aggression. The one thing that has been in the mind of everybody for 2 years is now a bit pushed aside, and everybody's attention goes somewhere else. News cannot be believed, neither about one thing nor the other. It's a madhouse, this world. We are here to learn, to grow, to outgrow. It's good to remember, not to take the superficial manifestation so serious. It's not as real as it appears. It's a magic show. We come here to confront difficult situations, happy situations, both. But confrontations will be there, and they are there, that we learn to observe our own reactions to them. Learn to make something positive and creative out of it, so that our own life becomes more and more joyous, that our own inner natural joyousness has more and more possibility, more and more the opportunity to come out, to manifest itself, to be experienced, and to radiate it on this level. The world is changing. The energy is changing. But somehow it seems that humanity as a whole has to really be shaken, rattled, before we are able to open the heart for something new, for something more harmonious. The big majority of people, they are longing to return to how things were before. But actually, what was going on before, the whole trouble the last 2 years, was not so fantastic. One mystic said we are like a truck. Humanity is like a truck running full speed towards a wall. The way we're behaving. Well, the truck has slowed down, but it's like most of the people are longing to return, to do the same again. But let us have a good, honest look at ourselves, at humanity, at what we have been doing, humans on this world. This harmonious, destructive of nature, this harmonious amongst ourselves. So it's time that we are opening the heart for love, for harmony. And it's happening. Many people do, more and more. The energy is there to support it, but still each one has to do something to decide to open up to that. And then all the support comes. And it will happen more and more. And a new chapter in history will dawn. How long it goes until this is really manifesting depends on us, how we are playing along, whether we are ready to let go of that hanging on to just caring to return to our own petty little personal comfort. Life could be so much more joyous if there is a base of harmony, if there is a general empathy. The people's intent is to be harmonious, to be friendly with each other instead of outwitting each other all the time for their own personal advantage. We have to move in that direction, and we will, but we can facilitate it by consciously opening the heart to that and helping in that way others to do the same. And this brings me to a question that Maria has asked. She didn't know whether she can attend today, but she asked about the relationship with things on the material level. She wondered how I have been dealing with it, sitting in the cave and now here. She has the feeling that I'm living very frugal. Well, my feeling is that the way I'm living now is extremely luxurious compared to how I've been living before. Well, she says that sometimes then she lets things a bit aside, but then there can come periods where she just feels like getting new things, getting a kick out of shopping. What should we do with this material level? How should we deal with the things of this world? There's not really any answer that we should do this or should do that. In the Indian tradition, once you turn spiritual, it's very much emphasized to renounce, to be simple, to live simple. At the same time, they have all those stories of kings and rishis, highly enlightened and living in luxury. As long as we are making our well-being dependent, that we have a lot of things, then of course there is always that burden. And we have the tendency to accumulate more and accumulate more and accumulate more. And instead of getting happier, it seems that one gets more and more burdened, that it's getting just something that one has to deal with all the time. So it's good not to unnecessarily accumulate more and more. But that doesn't mean everybody has to become ascetic. Live your life with whatever little comfort that comes along. Nothing wrong. Just we don't have to be obsessed with it. And when that desire comes to buy new things, to get that kick of buying new things, then one can first stand a step back and have a good look at the situation and wonder, is it really necessary? What's the point? What's the good? And if then the feeling comes, it's perfectly valid that I'm going to get this, I have the opportunity, so then why not? And she says, well, it came to her mind also because she is cleaning out the apartment of her ex-husband, and he was a keeper, so it's all this stuff is there. And she says she's not like this, she gets rid of old stuff and gets new. And just wonders what is right. And there is not some one way right and the other way wrong. What matters is that we learn not to be obsessed with things. That we don't make our well-being dependent on that. And then if we go about it playfully, it's not the problem. So we go from day to day and live our life in a natural way, as it comes naturally to that manifestation that we are showing, that we are giving into this magic show. And for some it's very natural to live ascetic, for others it's natural to live quite a comfortable life. What matters is that we learn to be conscious, consciously conscious, here, now. And then the life is full of intensity. And the more that intensity is getting stronger, the more the consciousness is expanding, the more the joy of life is experienced and is expressed in every action, no matter whether we have things or no things. Our happiness is not dependent on things, but our happiness is also not going to get less because of things, if we deal with them properly. And that attachment to things can be when we live very frugal. Just little things, one can be attached to any damn little thing, and it's becoming as much a prison, like one who has many things and is attached to it. Or we can be detached. Except certain things are there, certain things are not there, certain things come and they go again. So what? I am what I am. This is a dreamlike experience. It's changing all the time. Nothing on that level is permanent. It's the Buddha's big teaching. Everything is impermanent. Everything is changing in manifestation. If we learn to bring the attention back home to that timeless now, to that base, that unchangeable ground, the pure consciousness, the pure energy, the pure love. If the attention gets rooted in that, then these changes on the surface, they don't really matter much. Now, for somebody who is interested to become more conscious, I would say a general direction is rather to simplify the life than make it more complicated. Because the more we make our life complicated, the more the tendency is to get so absorbed in the things, in the situations, that we don't have time, that we don't have the consciousness. Bring the attention back home, here now, and be aware of that which makes the experience possible. But we don't have to force on ourselves an asceticism if that doesn't come naturally. One can also be attached to that circumstance. Ramana Maharshi, he had never the sannyasi cloth, but often householders would come to him, Bhagavan, please give me sannyas, give me the cloth. And nearly always, there were a few exceptions, but nearly always Ramana would say to them, hey, you just want to run away from your duties in your family as a householder. And now you are attached to the idea that you are a householder. And if I give you sannyas, after that you are simply attached to the idea that you are a sannyasi. Go home, do your duty, but do your self-inquiry, do your practice while living your life, your normal, natural life. Spirituality is not something fixed in a stereotype that only like this you can unfold in your experience. People are different, and what is good for one is not necessarily good for another. What matters is that we really want it, that we really are sincere about it. And that sincerity comes when we start to look at ourselves and see that we are really creating the pain, the suffering in our lives ourselves. And are really fed up with it. And don't want to do that anymore. Then we look for ways to detach from it. External detachment, external renunciation may help many to get more detached, but it's the inner detachment that counts. That we are not more weighted down by our ideas of possession, ideas what I need, things that should be there, jealousies for what others have and I can't have. If we can let all that go, then we are rich here now, simply because we are touching the source out of which all is coming. Okay, I stop talking about this. I'm asking you, my friends, is there anybody who would like to come in and talk? You are welcome to come.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Moksha.
Hi. Hi, man.
Hello. Yeah.
What?
Sorry.
No problem.
Some
we
technical.
have time. Yeah, we have time, isn't it? No problem. What I see is there is already the word I again, right?
Yes.
Every time I see more and more, if I'm meditating, I have a picture of what I am.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, unaware.
Yes.
I am moksha, I'm this, I'm that. And I think this, and this is my opinion, and blah, blah, blah. And I wrote from Amas, he said, if you do something, be aware of that you're not doing it with the idea of I doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really, this I is really sticky, isn't it?
Actually, the I as such is not the problem, but then everything that we are putting on top of it.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean, right? I am this, I am that, and I this and that.
Yeah.
It's amazing, eh? And if I look, it is clear that what I am now, it is just this completely, you could say, completely open space, nothing you can grab.
Mm.
And that is really, if I get a glimpse, if I look at it, it becomes so wide and just fun. Just fun.
Yes.
Amazing, eh?
Amazing.
And what you say, what we are doing to ourselves, I see, most of the time I don't see it. But if I look, it is true. It is, you must just stop it.
Oh, I'm not hearing you anymore.
Oh, you
Oh,
can
now
hear
I
me?
hear you again. Yeah.
Okay, I was too not noisy enough, not loud enough. Yeah, it is just amazing.
Yes. It's funny with you when you come in. You're always amazed to find out how simple it is, huh?
Yes, yes. I must keep looking myself
Yeah.
and hearing people talk about it. Otherwise, the mind goes without the awareness. Chuck, you are in a problem again.
Yeah.
And then I'm always, if I'm sitting there, I think, huh? But it is fun. It is fun.
Yes. If you don't get depressed finding out that it got you a moment again, so what? Then you just come out of it and no problem. Yeah?
No, that was in the past. I know I was always pissed off when I was unaware again.
Yeah.
But now that is gone. I'm so happy if it opens up again. Ah, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
So it is so good to hear you and other people and to read and to sit down and come back. Huh?
Right. Right.
Oh, it is so simple, but so easy to forget. Oh, thank you that you are here, Werner.
You're welcome. I guess I stick it out for some more time.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. It's nice here, huh?
Yes. Well, there's a lot of not nice stuff there, but it's part of the experience we bargained for, huh? Coming into this world.
Yeah, and I see in my private life, I mean, it is maybe a little bit egoistic, but I see perfect.
Good. Nice.
So if I go with my car to the station to buy oil, to buy, it's also a good lesson, you know, the prices are crazy.
Yes.
And in the past I was, what, they make tricks, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm standing there with my children in the car and say, oh, it's just a play. This money thing is also just what to do, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, then we drive a little bit less.
Yes.
So what? So what?
So
If the money is finished, it is finished.
Yeah.
But my problems I see in my direct life, I actually never have a problem. What is a problem? Let's say it's always, or maybe in the future, I have not enough money. but it is in the moment. It is no. I don't have any problem.
Yes. We creating our problems in our mind. Even if we're facing a real difficult situation, if we are not resisting against the fact of what is happening, then the situation is not really a problem. It's when we resisting and think it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this, it should be different, then it becomes heavy, heavy, heavy.
It's always the same, actually. It's always the same. If we don't want it, and then the problem starts. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that we have to want it. There's certainly a lot of stuff happening that we don't want, and it's not that we have to somehow artificially think, yes, I want this, I wanted it, but accept that things are not the way I would like them. Yes. And then they are not a big deal.
Yeah, that I want everything. No, well, that's my big one.
The cat or the boy?
Sorry.
The cat or the boy?
Yeah, both. He is now stronger and bigger than me.
Yeah.
I first was. I'm also now, because of him, I'm also do a little bit training.
Yeah.
And I was stronger with my right arm again, or
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
But since a few weeks,
He's stronger.
took my arm. He took my arm. I gave up directly. I was feeling directly. Oh, forget it. This is small boys are going big, right?
Yeah.
No, but it is. It is not that I like every situation. This is.
Right.
I see also with some people. This is nonsense.
Yes.
This is complete nonsense. Sometimes it is really shit. But also in the body, if something hurts or something, I'm not a masochist.
Yeah.
But it is really, if I can say, okay, I try to do my best, but and feel in no resistance, then it becomes much better.
Yes.
Yeah. No, to be.
Half of the difficulty is already solved when we accept, and if we resist against the fact, resisting against facts is always misery. Yes.
That is this very simple example of going to the how does it call if tankstellen,
Gas station.
gas station.
Yeah.
You see the prices. What? It was double the price. But what? And you can talk with people about it. This is this and this companies are blah blah blah. But you fuck up your whole day, and it doesn't change anything of the price.
Yeah, it's not getting cheaper through that. Huh?
You only become miserable. And I was standing there. It was so nice with my children. I said, no, it's just a play. The whole money thing is just a,
Yeah,
just a play. Yeah. So you have money, so you don't. So what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have more possibilities, sometimes less. It doesn't change that basic nature of yours, out of which the happiness flows. There is the happiness coming from, and not from the circumstances. Huh?
If you feel this, or become aware of this completely free awareness.
Uh-huh.
That's it, man. That's it. To remember.
So we can play our role in the world with whatever is needed, but unattached, unconcerned, not irresponsible. We can take responsibilities and fulfill them, but not take ourselves so serious in it.
That is a lesson for me. I always took it damn serious, you know.
Yeah.
Policeman, it is like this, and that is right, and that is wrong, and take it completely serious.
Yeah.
And if people were not so serious, I become really angry because they don't take it so serious, you know. They make a fun out of it. And now I see to make a fun out of it is great. Yeah. Upside down.
Okay.
Thank you, Werner.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om, Hari
Hari
Om.
Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Kristen.
Hey, good to see you. I would like to thank you for the introduction talk because it was touching some subject that I was talking with you about several times.
Yeah.
And this what you said, that it can help not to make life too complicated. And then on the other side, to do your duty. Yeah. I'm turning 60 in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So I can feel that's also helping me a little bit to allow myself to retreat more from work life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been discussing with you many times about this, that my work life, I didn't choose it, it just happened to me. That suddenly I was standing with this big yoga school and all the yoga teachers and all the responsibility and so. And I can feel now with my 2 months trip on La Gomera that actually the best time for me was when I had the little studio and I couldn't walk and I was following the ceremonial broadcasting from the passing of Tai.
Mm-hmm.
And I can really feel I want to go more in retreat. I will not stop it totally like from full power to zero, but I really feel it's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any question for you. It was just so nice to hear you talking about this with the balance between not making things so too complicated and still do it. Somehow it really resonated in me.
Very nice.
And maybe what now I'm talking with you, maybe what I'm also realizing, and you have also been talking with me about that before, it's not so much what I do if I run the whole thing, but more my attitude.
Right.
But it helps with the with the retreat time.
Sure, if you have the opportunity and you have that feeling that you like to do that, then by all means, that is very helpful. Yes.
Can't wait. I just have to organize a few things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good, nice.
Thank you. I'm sorry I cannot formulate a question, but
Yeah, that's fine. We
maybe
don't
this
have
can.
to. We don't have to ask questions all the time, and we can also just talk together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Wish you well.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Then I will talk about another thing. Liora, just before we started, I saw that she sent a message that she won't be here on the live satsang, but whether I could talk about the phrase hope is coming from the same place as I think it was agony. Let's just check it. What the phrase really was. No, where? Yeah, it's the same, where hurt comes from. And or hope is an action. What I have to say to this? Hope, of course, hope is also an emotion that we are creating. But if we have that capacity to hope, not with desperation, but just, it depends what we think we hope. If we with desperation, hope, hope, hope that it's getting better, it's terrible, it hope, hope, hope it's getting better, then that hope doesn't help much. But and there, that hope is like coming from the same place as agony, as hurt. But if we have that capacity to visualize that things can turn positive, that things can get, in a way, better, more beautiful, more harmonious, more joyous, then this is can be a great help how to deal with the present in an easier way. I have heard often the argument here in the Advaita, especially in the new Advaita, hope is distracting you. Hope is again pulling you away from the present, looking in the future, thinking it should be better there. There's nothing wrong if we want to be in the present. In spite of that, to think about the past sometimes, to think about the future. No, being aware, I'm in the present. And I'm visualizing a certain direction how the future can develop. Not losing the sense of present right now. We can look in the past, learn from the situation, learn from the knowledge, use the knowledge that is there in the memory to apply it in the present. We can be in the present and still cultivate that sense of hope, not as an act of desperation, but as a positive, creative act to enrich the present experience and also to put some positive, creative energy in the current that can facilitate that things change in a beautiful, creative, harmonious way. It may work out or it may not work out. But if we call that hope what I'm describing now, then that hope is not in any way an obstacle, but it's something extremely helpful, positive. And the question whether hope is an action is also then answered. Yes, in a way, it is an action. It's an emotion in action. It's an emotion that we can open up to, and that the emotion makes the experience of the now easier, and it helps to bring something in the current of things on the relative level that can facilitate that the story is developing in a more favorable way. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Simply, as usual, don't get obsessed by it. Don't think, I have to hope, I have to hope, I have to hope, but then it has to somehow manifest. But somebody who can visualize that things are turning out in a more joyous way is also more joyous in the present than somebody who simply thinks it's hopeless. because then that desperation is there. It's terrible and it's anyhow not getting better. It's maybe just turning worse. Then that kind of feeling makes the present experience heavy. There's nothing wrong with hope if we use hope wisely. If it's not getting an act of desperation, if it's not something that we are painfully holding on to, and in the background, actually, in that kind of hope, in that desperate hope, in the background, the mind will always be there and say, anyhow, it's not working, anyhow, it's not going to happen, anyhow, it can't be. So don't, Leora or anybody else, don't shrink from hope as a positive, as a joyous, as a playful enrichment of the present, as a possibility to facilitate that things can turn into a beautiful direction. Knowing here now is the only place where I'm touching reality. Here now is real. Future, past, all is in the mind. The memories, the expectations. But still, there is that relative level, like a current that moves continuously. I am immovable here, timeless, birthless, deathless, timeless, now. There is the projection in the relativity, there we play our role, and we can bring in a positive energy in that current. There's nothing wrong with making that current beautiful, with making this relative experience beautiful. And that kind of hope is absolutely advisable. Okay, I dropped the subject. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Please come.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
I want to share something.
Yes, you are welcome.
Okay. Last time I see some relaxation in my body more than it was before. And it is so amazing because 7 years ago, maybe I have been done Osho meditation of dynamic meditation, and
yes.
And it had a very active part. First part before watching was very active.
Yes.
And one and one stage it took 10 minutes. It was jumping, jumping with arms up, and it had to be easy, very easy jumping, relaxed, and with feeling grounded. Yes, jumping on the full feet. And I always felt a lot of difficulties with this. Yes, it was not easy in my case, and not only in my case. I felt so much tension, and like I had heavy suitcases attached to my feet with old stuff, and every time I jumped, I felt this burden. Yeah, it was very heavy. It was not like it inherently had to be like a ball, just jumping. And then I didn't do it for a long time. Maybe only sometimes I did this jumping. But last time I decided to include this stage. At first I did 5 minutes and then 7 minutes, and I see that after some days I feel easiness in jumping. It is really amazing, because I really understand how it is to feel this easiness and relaxation and no tension as it was before. Yeah, it's a great surprise for me, and I see that something is really changing.
Yeah, right.
With all these practices, all these sitting meditations, and I think yoga stretches, and all this some activity, and this watching. Yes, it is very good present for me. I feel it. I can't say that my mind became easier. Now I still don't watch it so strong, because I still have these worries and all these thoughts in my mind. But in this physical level, I really saw these amazing changes for me. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The thing is, when we are in the midst of it, in our process, generally that that process goes quite gently, quite slowly, and then we are not quite aware that, because every day we are in the midst of the story and we are not quite aware that slowly things are changing. And then suddenly something happens, like after a long time to jump again, and then you become aware, something did go on. And with the mind is the same thing. You think it's not changing, but you're not. It's not true. Of course, your mind has been changing, easing up, but you are more conscious, and when you are more conscious, you are also more conscious that how many thoughts are there. Even if there are much less thoughts than previous, you still think there are so many thoughts, because you are more aware how much you are thinking. But as you have been relaxing physically, you have also been relaxing mentally in the last years. Definitely.
I hope. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Werner. The one more thing I want to say: when I watch my breath sit, and I see that my mind is occupied by thoughts and maybe some worries and something else. I try to come back again to my breath. Yes, but when I don't have so much worries, I see that I begin to talk and share what I feel. I often share with you what I feel and what's going on in my meditation. Yes, I understand it is much more pleasant than some worries, but still there
It's
are
more
thoughts.
pleasant than what?
That's then all these thoughts of the worries.
Worries.
Worries. Yes.
Yeah.
But I often watch that I share with you all my all this what is going on.
That's all right. If you cannot keep quiet and it helps you to do so, then by all means do that.
I don't try to come back to the breath again.
Mm-hmm. But yes, when you remember and become aware, then you can come back to the breath. And if the thoughts, in spite of that, once you are used to be aware of the breath, then also you start to think in spite of being aware of the breath. And then
Yes.
if it's getting too much, you can also be aware of the breath and still share whatever you have to share.
Yes, it happens at the same time sometimes. When
Yes, right.
it seems to me maybe that I watch my breath and thoughts go on also. Yeah.
Right. In the beginning, when we learn something, then we have to put all our attention, and then usually the less thoughts are there. But once you are capable of doing it quite easy, then the tendency is to start to think again more. That's with all the practices. As long as we need to put a lot of concentration in order to do it, then the thoughts may reduce a bit, and then once it's getting easier, then the tendency is there to think again more. But then when you become aware, you can also learn not to get interested and return the attention to the other aspect, whatever you are doing as a practice. For example, turn it more to consciously breathe. But if you feel sometimes it's too much, somehow something wants to unburden itself, and then if it helps that internally in your mind you share, you talk, and you explain, nothing wrong with it. But try not to lose completely then your basic current of being aware of the breath.
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Thank you, Werner.
A little technical thing, you use often the phrase last time, but actually what you are meaning is recently.
Yes.
First I was a bit confused when you used to tell me last time, but actually what you mean is recently more than last time.
Yes, yes, recently. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
Wish you well. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
We have quite some wind here, so sometimes my image may shake a bit because the computer is shaking. Never mind. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Nobody wants to talk? Oh, hello, Lutz.
Hello, Werner. Yeah, I want to ask something about how to deal with heavy feelings in other people, or heavy feelings in oneself. The present situation is that many refugees are coming from Ukraine to Berlin, and some of them have experienced very traumatic things, and they are dazed. They're shocked, and they hold a lot of pain. And when I see them, I feel sad, and at the same time, there's also some kind of fascination with this sadness in them. So somehow something attracts me to them, and I feel also I want to help them. And I think it has to do something about my mother's experience, because she also had these experiences, and I grew up with her, and somehow there's something in it for me. This whole thing has a message for me as well. My question is number one. If you feel some person who's very sad, you also become sad for a moment, and then what is the best thing to do with that sadness? Just let it go. There's some teaching now, you send it to the earth, and the earth will kind of take care of it. There's some other teaching, you give it to God, you let it go to God and let Him handle that, and not you yourself. So question number one is, what is your recommendation in this matter? And question number two, is there a way maybe to transform that energy somehow? Because I have seen Amma, who takes a lot of things, or it looks at least like this, that she's taking a lot of things. People come very burdened to her, they scream and cry, and she consoles them, and somehow they go away, and they feel unburdened. And I was always wondering, what is she doing with that energy? It must have gone somewhere. And does she have some kind of transformer in her, which kind of transforms this negative energy into something else? Or is she just kind of keeping it and also sending it to I don't know where? I don't know.
Yes, well, of course, if we learn to be in harmony with ourselves, then this psychophysical manifestation becomes more and more a transformation station, without that we have to do something about it. If negative energy is being poured into it and we are not resisting, then it's in a way going through, but at the same time, it's also transforming it. Without that, we have to do a transforming action. Just being connected with yourself brings in such a creative aspect that negativity somehow has the tendency to be transformed into something more harmonious. Now, you said in the beginning, when you are with sad people, strongly sad people, then you also become sad. Of course, naturally, their emotion is also an energy, will reflect in our body, energetically, physically, that feeling of sadness is coming. And we need not resist, but we need also not think, I need to stay with it and keep that sadness in order to be compassionate. It's not that we have to sink then into a negativity in order that to be empathic. But you can, that sadness comes, and if we relax, it goes through. Of course, somebody can do exercises like consciously giving it to the earth, giving it to God. If you are a yogi who is doing a lot of energy work, then you can also directly do something about it to transform it. But it needs a lot of training in a way that you directly can do. If you are capable of just being totally detached and let it pass through, then in a way you have already done your duty. And then just the connection with that person who is suffering, with the person who is sad, and that emotion that is being discharged, and it goes through, and in spite of that you can be connected with your essence, then you give that person something very positive, something very constructive, that without them being quite aware, reassures them that no matter what the circumstances are, there is always that aspect in them that cannot be touched. And if the more you are connected with that aspect in you, the more you transmit it to them. And in a way, it's also transforming the energy from sadness into something very beautiful and expansive. Now, a yogi can learn to feel those negative emotions in the body. Negative emotions have the tendency to be always in the lower part of the body and being locked there, and then direct those energies in the body upwards, to let them flow on top of the head and then distribute it through the whole body and transform them consciously in that way. If that is anyhow a practice somebody does, then one can also directly work with emotions like that. But if that is not our usual practice, then you need not too much try to consciously transform them, the emotions. Just Irmgard and Cor, please turn your microphone off. Oh, it's off now. Okay. Lutz, can you say something to come back?
Yes.
Ah, there you are. Your picture is again big because your picture became small. So you need not push yourself thinking that you have to transform that, but just your being not attached to it, and just not your capacity then not to get yourself being sucked into a negative mood by confronting those negative emotions is already basically all the job you need to do. Of course, Amma is a bit a special case.
No, I mean, I just brought her into the picture because she's a striking example of somebody who seems to has a kind of unexhaustible capability of taking on burdens from other people. So there must be some kind of secret. That she must have some kind of trick how to deal with that. But most probably her trick is far beyond my capabilities. So I feel already you answered it very beautifully that my main task is just to kind of stay connected and just let it flow through, and
Yes.
it's happening by itself. I was not it was not really clear to me before, so that's a very beautiful answer. I can also really kind of believe in that, and it makes perfect sense to me.
Very
Pointing.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Good. Great. Then we leave it at that. Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Hario. Hario. Is there anybody else who would like to say something? Okay, I'll stay with the same subject for a moment longer. It's about compassion. When we see people suffering, when we see any living being suffer, then there are two ways of reacting, and I would call, just to be clear, that's not the same. One is pity. Then one feels pity, and that pity, feeling how they are not well, how they are suffering, has the tendency to also lower our own energy. And sooner or later, it has the tendency to turn into self-pity. First, then we see something negative, but then soon it becomes self-pity, in the sense that, poor me, I have to face again such a miserable situation. It's not compassion, that pity. Being sucked into something negative is making our own experience smaller. It's not supporting the other being that is suffering. Even if they feel in their superficial experience, if we are there and feel miserable along with them, that they feel a bit company, but all that is happening, that we are both miserable. It brings more misery in the world on this level. Compassion is not making our experience smaller. Compassion is not pulling our experience down into darkness. Compassion is a very powerful experience. Compassion is strength. It's not weakness. Compassion means that capacity, what we just talked with Lutz, to confront negative situations, to confront people who are in an emotionally bad shape because of some traumatic experience, or because of just something that goes on in their mind. It doesn't matter where it's coming from, but if they are in an emotional bad shape, then we can see that, and we will feel that emotion in our body, because an emotion is always built up on an energy, has a certain energy. And if we really connect with somebody, then naturally we feel that energy in our own body. And there we can slip into pity and we go, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible, what's happening to them? And there we are already down in the darkness and start to feel self-pity. Or we can feel their pain and still connect with that aspect in yourselves that is not affected by it, here now. And then we become transparent. And the negativity of the situation is like flowing through without really leaving a trace. And then, because we connect with that suffering being, but don't slip into that suffering mode, but are aware that there is that aspect which is complete, which cannot be hurt, no matter what happens. From here, from this timeless now, from this source of all energy and love and consciousness, flows then something very beautiful into the experience, into the situation, and that being that with whom we are connecting is benefiting from that immensely, even if they are not quite aware. But often they are aware, like Lutz describes the people who come to Amma. When I was in the beginning with Amma, That was in the early 80s. She did 3 times a week Krishna Bhava, Devi Bhava, and only villagers came, and a few devotees from a bit farther. But most of the people that came were the locals, the villagers, and it was like, especially for the women who had a difficult life, they were a bit treated like servants, like slaves often. And then when they could unburden themselves, often it was they were walking over the threshold of the little temple and it started to flow. And Amma was taking them patiently as Krishna, playfully as Krishna, very compassionate as the Divine Mother sitting there. Let them cry it out. And yes, it did unburden them, they would go away. But it's not that she has some secret trick. It's simply her experience is so totally rooted in that essential beingness. Whether she was manifesting as Ammachi, as that young crazy mystic, whether she was then in these bhavas manifesting as Krishna, or whether she was manifesting as the Divine Mother, there was always that awareness so unshakable of that essential reality that no matter what emotions the people brought, they didn't stick. There was real compassion, seeing their pain, but at the same time being connected with that immovable. And so something very beautiful was flowing through those people. They were unburdening their sorrows, they felt lighter and they felt also elated because something from Amma came back to them, but not the painful, terrible thing that they had in their experience, but the natural expression of the true beingness. It's not that she has a particular special secret trick, it's simply that that being is so totally rooted. No matter what is happening superficially, that aspect never is being lost, that no matter how much people will pour on her, it just goes through. Otherwise she couldn't have done what she had been doing year after year, running from one place to another, sitting for hours and hours, and people come and pour their stuff on her. If there was a wall where it sticks, she would have collapsed within no time. She said simply is so totally transparent. And we can learn to consciously get closer to that. That when we feel in a situation where it's difficult, where we are facing negative emotions, where we are facing people who are suffering, when we feel that it has the tendency to pull us into that same darkness, there we can consciously let go, relax. We may do it with a certain practice and consciously try to give it to the earth or give it to God or give it to the sun or whatever, or we can just relax. Instead of being a target where those emotions can hook in and pull us, the more we relax, the more we become transparent. And it just goes through, and then something very beautiful can flow back the other direction. That's also what Satsang is about. That people come, connect, and the one who is supposed not to get sucked into the habitual emotional tension may take a lot of stuff, but not as a burden, simply naturally let flow back something very beautiful, harmonious, that is supportive. the stronger we get rooted, the more that capacity is increasing. Still, after such a moment where we facing a lot of negativity, it may be helpful, even if we learn to be quite transparent, that some residues still may stick in our psychophysical manifestation in our system, and it's very helpful if after such a confrontation one has the opportunity to be then by alone and just relax and consciously connect again stronger. And then if there is still something sticking around, then that also will get exhausted, ejected out of the system. Compassion is not an emotional weakness. Compassion is something very powerful. A sensitivity for the suffering of living beings without getting pulled into suffering. Being capable of connecting with one's own joyous, natural beauty in spite of negative situations. And through that, the burden of others who connect with us is getting less. It's like they are unburdening somewhat, and on top of that, something very supportive, beautiful can from our side flow back to them. For when we connect with a living being, it's always a circle, an energy that goes in a circle. And if we are capable of accepting burdened energy, but let it flow through us, then the energy that flows back is full of beauty and very supportive. Okay, I stop talking. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Dial.
Hello.
Oh, there I see you. Hello.
Yeah, I want to ask the question according to situation what Lutz describing.
Yes.
But I feel it completely different. Some of my friends and even relatives now in difficult situation in Ukraine.
Yes.
But I feel the feeling of revenge, not compassion at all.
You feel revenge.
Revenge, yes.
You feel or they feel? You feel.
I feel,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for 8 years they was bombing 2 cities and many people died and many children died and they was ignoring it. And when I talking to them, they said, no, it's not happening. Just try to forget it, try to say it if nothing happening. And many years they was asking to make agreements to make peace, to somehow clarify the situation.
Yeah.
But normal people cannot do much. Actually, it's government working. So, and my question is, how much are we responsible for action of our government? For example, I feel this feeling of revenge when people suffering. So I also creating some kind of karma. And for example, if I see something happening not right, but I cannot really change it. So what is the right way not to create more karma?
Right. That's a very good question, especially in the present situation. I mean, if I see a situation and I feel that situation is not right, and I have the opportunity to do something about it, I can try to change the situation. But like in this particular situation, most of us, we cannot do something about it. And then, okay, what to do if you feel then this grudge, this revenge, this anger coming? I mean, revenge is anger that wants to express itself. Anger at those who bring the situation about. And of course, holding on to that energy, holding on to that emotion is not helping anyone. It's making your life painful, and it's sending also more violent energy into that situation, which has the tendency, if many people do that, to manifest again in more violence. So when you feel that anger, if you feel that sense of revenge that you would like to go and revenge, to also somehow bang some things into the air, then accept, see that it's there, accept that that emotion is there, but then don't nourishing it by keep the mind all the time on the situation that brought that emotion about, but bring the attention fully to your own emotion, to your own feeling of revenge, of anger, and see what it is doing to your experience right now, to you now. And if we stop keeping the mind attached to what brought that feeling about, but bring the attention directly to the feeling, then the feeling starts to transform. It cannot stay the same way. It simply stays the same way if we think the same thoughts over and over and over, and then in that way feed that emotion, that it remains, and it's like then like a disease in the body that doesn't want to get out. But if we bring the attention back, not fighting against the feeling of revenge, not think, oh, I'm a bad boy, that I feel like revenge, but accept, okay, that feeling comes. Not question, is it justified or is it not justified? Okay, that feeling is there, that anger is there. Then let me see how that anger really feels. Just accept it's there. Feel it in your body, what it is really doing. Feel it energetically, what is really happening. And if we are not nourishing it with the story, repeating the same thoughts over and over, then gradually that feeling is disappearing. And actually, it's getting transformed, what we talked about before. It's getting transformed into something more harmonious. And then, after some time, it will go, and you will feel more at peace. But of course, if something is very strong, and if you are confronted with the same reality, it may come back again and again, but then learn to treat it again and again like this, that you accept, okay, where I am in my position, I cannot do something about the situation, but I can deal with my reaction. And actually, by dealing with your reaction in such a way, you do something about the situation. It's like you take something away from the negativity that is created in that situation, and you send something positive back that is helpful, that is supportive, that there can be eventually a solution to the problem. a solution that is creative and harmonious instead of simply destructive.
Okay, yes, I will observe myself and try to be more positive in this situation.
Right. It's not that you have to tell to yourself, I have to be positive. It's not that you have to somehow artificially try to like what is happening. It's not likable what is happening. But when you feel your anger about it, then you can deal with your anger in the way that I described. And you can do it again and again and again. And so your experience will become much more harmonious and much more expansive. But if we hold on to the anger and the feeling of revenge, it's like our experience, it's contracting and painful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understand. And I want to ask you, yesterday I participated in group meditation in Zoom with Vipassana friends.
Yes.
And there was teacher. I find it's very effective when many people together sitting, meditating. And why don't you start your satsang with few before on the roof and maybe at the end? Because it's just helpful just for a few minutes be together, not only talking.
Yes. You are not the first who is asking me like that. So far, I just don't feel like doing that. I think for the time being, I'm just doing this satsang. And most of the people are not saying anything. So they are meditating, just following the satsang. To do a silent meditation on the Zoom, somehow it seems to be just not my thing to do. I'm very happy about there are many different meditations offered on Zoom, online in one way or another, and I'm very happy that they exist. And yes, you can connect with them. And then when you are in the satsang, in the live satsang, or even listening on YouTube, you still can make it into a meditation, even if it's not a silent meditation. But somehow something in me doesn't feel that's my thing to do. A silent meditation on Zoom, the way I'm doing it at the end of the satsang here on the roof. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understand.
If I do it,
thank you.
If I do it, then it becomes artificial because it doesn't come from my heart, and then it's no good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Hari Om, Hari Om. All right, let's stop the official part of the satsang for today. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.